Hey, a quick announcement before we start the video. For the month of May, I'm doing a Dono Fest with the main goal of playing Honey Pop here on YouTube. So if you want to help out the channel, do consider following the Ko-Fi link down below and leave a donation if you want. Also, do subscribe to me here on YouTube, follow me on Twitch and on Twitter, because if you don't, I'm going to hurt you. Most of you who watch this channel are not subscribed to me right now, so you better do it. Thank you.
This is easily one of my favorite stories of all time, and it is the epitome of it's not stupid if it works. Today we're talking about Operation Beaver Drop, that time that a bunch of World War II veterans that worked for the Idaho Fish and Game Department got assigned the task of relocating a bunch of beavers to a different habitat, and they decided that the cheapest, safest, most cost-effective way to go about that was to strap them to parachutes and throw them out of a plane. And we're gonna get
I have so many questions about how you even make this possible.
All right, let's just take this from the top. Beavers, okay, one of my favorite animals. Why? Because I believe it is the animal that is most similar to humans. And I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say, what about monkeys? What about apes? What about chimpanzees? They've all got thumbs and they poke shit with sticks and they eat bananas just like people do. That's fine. I understand that they're very similar to people, but beavers are the most similar to humans in spirit. We are the only animals on the planet with the audacity to walk into a new ecosystem and be like, wow, I hate everything about this. I could migrate, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with option B and change everything about the world around me to make it suit me better and fuck everybody else. Now,
I mean, wouldn't you? Listen, if I like the place, I like the place. If I have to, listen, if I like your house, I'm taking your house. If I have to pipe bomb you out of your whole abode, I will do it. I have no reservations about doing that. Tame you redneck Kratos. Listen, I came, I saw, we conquered, okay? That's my motto. Humanity superior race. Well, yeah, but like, listen, it's like the hoodie conversation we had when we were watching the meme video. If I see a hoodie and I like it, I'm taking it. And you can't stop me. Like, I don't know. I don't know if you understand how this works, okay? Look, Scarlette, at least speak by dogs. Sure, I can figure nouns. But, you know, just to be clear here. Like, I am actually saying that I'm going to take over your house. I'm not trying to be subtle about it anymore. I will take your house. Have you seen the current prices for houses? If you're a landlord right now, if you're a homeowner, you're dead. You're done. It's mine now. A squatter? No. I'm not a squatter. Oh, you got like 4 more months on my lease. You can have it. Gotcha. Listen, if you give it to me, I won't kill you. Smile. If you don't give it to me, I'll get in a bulldozer and actually I'll get into killdozer and just like run over the house and build a new one on top of the foundation. Can I keep my wife? No, I like your wife. I'm stealing her as well. Sorry. Or does she stay in the house? She's gonna become a concubine of mine. That's just how it goes, okay? Killdozer?
do I enjoy the wetlands that beavers create with their dams? No, it's not my jam. However, game recognized game, because when a beaver sees running water and is like,
you gonna do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed for him to do that, and it became personal with me.
it's no different than when it's July and it's hot out and I decide to turn my air conditioner on so I can domesticate the wind so that my balls aren't hot, okay? It's about changing the environment around you rather than changing yourself. Okay, it's just that species-wide main character energy of I don't need to evolve anymore, I'm perfect how I am, I'm going to evolve the world around me to some shit that I like more. So while I have a great
Reminds me of like college. Oh my god. That sentiment, I know he's like joking, okay? I realize that. But I'm also a little bit like, fuck, dude. It reminds me so much. And hey, I'm not, listen, just so you guys know, so you guys are aware, when I say this, I don't mean any hatred to anybody. I'm left-leaning myself, okay? But it does remind me so much of like the college commies that I met when I was still studying. And how they wanted to change the entire world around them without like understanding like the first thing about said world around them. So they went around with like a hammer trying to like apply their fix to everything, and then when it didn't work, they would blame the people around them. Kind of reminds me of that for some reason. I don't know why I'm going in this tangent anyways. Embrace the hatred of embrace the hatred of commies. Listen, man, the only thing, listen, I harbor no hatred for anybody in my heart. Okay? Unless you're a level player in Final Fantasy 14. If you are, I'm gonna hang you from a tree. Listen, that's just how it is. But that's besides the point. Like that's besides the point. And I'm also joking. Listen, I don't harbor any hatred for anybody, okay? It's just, you know, I don't know why it reminded me of that.
Childish respect for beavers. Unfortunately for the beavers, between the 15, 16, 17, 1800s, their furs made dope-ass hats and they were really popular all across Europe, and the beavers were almost hunted to extinction for their pelts. Okay, and as I'm sure you can imagine, no beavers means no beaver dams means no wetlands, and no wetlands messes up the entire ecosystem. Okay, we can't have it. We gotta quit killing all the beavers. So the early 1900s, people realized this. They put protections on the beavers and we quit trying to hunt them to extinction and actually try to help encourage their population to build back up. Okay, fast forward like 50 years, 1945, 1946, right around then, all the young men that went off and fought World War II are coming back home. They got a bunch of money from fighting that war. They want to get a wife, build a house, have some kids, do people things. So they
Wow, so things haven't changed in like almost 75 years. That's exactly what I want. Holy fuck.
start expanding. And one of the places this happens in is a town called McCall, Idaho. And they start expanding. And
I'm not a fail wife, I promise. You have to believe me, guys. I'm not a fail wife. Oh, man.
the town gets bigger and bigger, and eventually it displaces a bunch of beavers that have been out in the woods doing beaver things for hundreds of years. And these new beavers get displaced and they go out and they start fucking up a bunch of farmers' fields and irrigation systems. And it gets to the point that the people in the town are just gonna start shooting these beavers because they're messing everything up. At this point, the Idaho Fish and Game Department, presumably also full of World War I and World War II veterans, steps in and like, no, we're not gonna kill these beavers.
You can't be a fail wife, you have to be a wife first. Damn. Listen, I was gonna say, in order to be a can't fail if you never tried. Hey, listen, I've tried, okay? Lord knows I've tried. That's not the problem.
These guys are awesome. They do a lot for the environment. We're gonna take them. We'll move them somewhere else where they can thrive.
We're not killing beavers. We're just relocating them.
So here's the plan. They're gonna capture the beavers alive. They're gonna drive them as far as they can on roads, and then they're gonna pack them in on horses and mules, miles and miles into the wilderness where they're not gonna be near any humans ever. And this is a complete disaster pretty much from the start. They capture the beavers alive, stick them in a cage, throw them on a truck, try to drive them hours and hours into the wilderness. This is really hard on them because beavers, they're a lot like me. I like to sit in my house in the air conditioning. They like to sit in their dams in the nice, damp, wet environment to keep cool. Beavers can't keep cool on the back of an unair conditioned truck in the mid 1940s. A lot of them are getting heat stroke, they're passing out, they're dying, they quit eating, or they get super agitated and they're very combative the entire time because they're hot. Then even if the beavers do survive the truck ride, they're all pissed off and angry, and now they're getting strapped to a horse or a mule, and that pisses off the horse because he's got a bunch of angry beavers all over him, and now the horse is pissed off, and the whole thing just, it doesn't work. So now the Fish and Game Department.
Okay, and this is just to be clear, just to see if I'm following the video, because we popped a few jokes here and there, and I'm not quite sure if I'm following right now. This is all just to promote more beavers in other parts of the US. They're going through all this effort to promote the growth of beavers in other parts of the US, right? Like, I'm not mistaken so far. Because honestly, like, I get the logic behind it if that's the point. But, well, it's wildlife development project. Okay, the military has had a hard time handling beavers at tracks. So yes, it's trying to develop a new, okay, but like, you would think that they would try to make the area where they're going to drop the beavers, you know, hospitable for said beavers. Like, it has to be. The US also spent millions of dollars on a bomb that was going to turn people gay once also. Wait, what? Wait, what? A bomb that turns people gay? I'm sorry, Alex Jones. That's news to me.
And it's like, well, what are we going to do? We got to save all these beavers.
You never heard of that? Wait, that's a thing? Wait, what the fuck? That's a thing? My head hurts. Okay. I thought we were watching a beaver video. Yes. DARPA is a wonderful thing. Big surprise it didn't work. Tech. Okay, but like, if you're trying to get like the beavers, okay, so Rodon, I hear you. But if it's too hard for the humans to get there, why would you leave the beavers there to their own devices? To just die by doing that. Like, I feel like you're just sending them to certain death if you do that. The gay bomb is indeed a real thing. Hey guys, guess what baby we're watching next week? Because I need to learn about this. Holy.
Want to get them up in the mountains so they can build their wetlands. It's going to help protect the town from flash flooding. It's going to prevent erosion. It's going to be great for the environment. We got to save these guys. And one guy at the Fish and Game Department presumably is like, I mean, I got an idea. Hear me out. We do have an awful lot of extra surplus parachutes from World War II laying around, and we've got a plane. Okay, now to us in 2024, this sounds insane, but you gotta remember, this is 1948, okay? There's no OSHA, there's no like rules and regulations.
So I landed. Damn, I didn't pre-watch this video, I promise. So I landed right on the money. Oh my God.
And it's in Idaho, which is basically the middle of nowhere at this point. Nobody's telling these guys what to do. A bunch of World War I, World War II veterans are like, huh, it's actually a pretty good idea, Jimmy, you know?
They said, fuck it, let's care package the Beavers over.
It did work at Normandy, and the Beavers aren't even gonna have Germans shooting at them, so I mean, pretty high likelihood they'll be fine. Let's try it.
What were they thinking?
So, first order of business, we got to develop a box that opens up once it hits the ground and gets the...
God, I want this to work so badly. Dude, in my heart of hearts, I'm expecting the ending to be something like, yeah, so they captured like 1,000 beavers to try to like promote the development of this area, and like all 1,000 of them died, you know, falling into the swamp or whatever area they wanted to drop it into, right? Like low-key, I want for this to work. I really want for this to work. But like the reality is, like, this is probably gonna be like, oh yeah, they all fucking died. The end. It's gonna be so anticlimactic if that's the actual ending. Never beating the pre-watching allegations. Shut up.
Beavers to the ground safely. Pretty simple. It's basically 2 halves of a box with some holes drilled in it. They weave the rope through. Once the parachute lands, there's no more tension on the rope. The box just kind of falls open. The beavers get out and start doing beaver things. So first we're going to test it before we put any innocent beavers at risk. We're going to take some empty weights, put them in the boxes, go up in the plane, drop them over the practice field, see how it goes. Goes fine the first couple of times. Okay, let's try it with 1 beaver just for practice. So they go ahead, they pick an older male. He's out of his breeding prime, potentially dangerous to some of the younger males. If something does happen, he's lived out most of his life. They name him Geronimo because they're a bunch of meatheads and that shit's funny. So they put him in a crate, they take him up in the plane, drop him off over the practice field from 800 feet. Geronimo makes it and survives. Now, obviously, we're not going to put all our beavers in one basket because of 1 successful test run. We need multiple test runs to be certain that this is going to work. And now that Geronimo is technically our lucky beaver, he's going to do it again. So he does.
800 feet is a pretty big drop. For a poor animal, this is like an insane, like what people, just to remind you guys, when you and I parachute, I'm never gonna go parachuting by the way, but like, let's say we, like a human goes parachuting, right? You have the chance to like brace for impact. A beaver won't have that chance to brace for impact. Like they're not gonna know what's going on. Even with a parachute, like there's a technique for you to like actually land on the ground when you go parachuting. This is like an actually insane plan. These beavers are gonna end up dead. Oh God, I hope they don't.
Geronimo does it again and again and again, and he keeps jumping, like more than 12 jumps this beaver makes. And by the end of it, the parks employees reported that Geronimo would actually run up to them and help them put him in the crate because he was ready to go again. Buh! This is animal abuse, and what if one of those boxes didn't open after the parachute landed? Buh! Okay, first of all, no it isn't. I've already went over the options. A, they could stay where they were at, being displaced, and end up getting shot by farmers for messing up their crops. B, they could spend days in transit on the truck and on a pack mule suffering and potentially dying. Or C, we could throw them in an airplane, fly them there in 15 minutes, and then throw them out the side. They can get their jump wings while they're doing their Band of Beavers reenactment, okay?
Band of Beavers reenactment. That's actually kind of funny, dude. Squirrel would be the only animal that would survive 100% that fall. Would they? Do squirrels hit like a velocity fast enough to like actually get hurt like that? There's a couple of animals that I could see that you could drop from like an airplane and they wouldn't, they're not fat enough to like go to quick enough speed to like actually reach a velocity where they die. Cats do have 9 lives. Look, I don't think a cat would be able to. Cats have 9 lives, but like have you ever played Injustice? Have you ever played Injustice, like the fighting game? Like you have to remember that like cats are like back game. They have like stacking health bars, right? Like when a cat loses one life, it's very possible that he bled into the next health bar. You get what I mean? So you have to be careful, okay? Fat doesn't make you fall faster. It's about weight to surface area. Well, yeah, but like you get what I meant. There's some animals that don't have like enough weight specifically to like reach a fast enough velocity, right? Like you get what I mean. Cats always land on their feet. Listen, I wish I were true, because my cat, she's a fucking retard. She does not land on her feet always. Holy shit, I've seen her eat some, like, listen, she's definitely my cat. Like, actually, though. Because I've seen her, like, eat some shit. Sometimes. And it's, I don't like laughing about it, but it's really funny when she does. She's such a dork, man. Listen, my cat is proof that cats don't always land on their feet. Oh, man.
It's literally the best option. Okay, secondly, why are you worried about the box not opening? Like, did you think about this at all? It's a pine box, and that's a beaver. Okay, literally the only animal in the animal kingdom known for cutting down trees with its fucking face. I have the utmost confidence that if one of those boxes malfunctions, the beaver is gonna figure it out. All right, so now they have their beaver delivery method. They develop a plan. They pick out a bunch of different locations.
Are you sure it's not a dog pretending to be a cat? Good question. Could be. I don't think so. Because dogs are silly. My cat's just retarded.
All over this wooded area where they're going to be able to drop these beavers off in groups of like 3 to 5, 2 males, 3 females, 1 male, 3 females, something like that. Enough that they're going to be able to rebuild their own little colonies, but they're going to be spread out enough that they're not going to congregate into one thing. And it's going to be a humongous boost to the beaver population. This is what conservation's all about. So they get that all figured out. They have the plan in place. They know the delivery method. Now they just got to go catch all the beavers. So they go back to town, catch them all. There's 76 of them. They take them back. They start loading them in crates, and they're going to take them up in the plane and throw them out the side. And here's the best part about the whole thing. They filmed it.
Into the drop box. Nearly ready for that flight back into the mountain.
And this is where you can really start to see that this is a different time. I mean, look at this absolute Chad just manhandling this beaver into that crate with no safety equipment, no gloves, no eye pro, nothing. If this were modern day, that guy would have leather protective gloves up to his elbow. He'd have safety glasses with a hard hat, with a face shield, with a leather apron.
They would also be making sure to show like a lot of B-roll of them like treating the beavers as gently as possible. You know, they will also make sure to tell everybody how humane this is, blah, 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 blah.
He'd have 2 dudes holding his hand while he did it just to make the safety guy happy. No, this is just some angry war veteran throwing a beaver into a box like it's another 8-hour workday. It's fantastic. That's it. They get the beavers loaded up on the plane takes off, they drop all the beavers in their designated drop zones. 75 out of the 76 survived. I don't know how they know this. I'm assuming they had people on the ground at the different drop locations to make sure the box is opened or that the beavers made it or whatever. But apparently
Okay, 75 out of 76. So what? Like, let's say what's that? What's the math on that? Like 2% survived? Rather 2% died? Not even less than that, I think. I'm bad at math. Yeah, I know 1 beaver died, but that would be like 2%, right? Maybe 1%. One probably ate its way out mid-fall. Less than 1%, but 75 out of 76, 1.4-ish. Okay, gotcha. So 1.4% of the beavers died. Or to be more specific, 1 beaver. Okay, hey, you know what? I got my wish. I was expecting all of them to die, honestly. The fact that only 1 died is a miracle, as far as I'm concerned.
The 1 beaver that didn't make it had somehow either slipped through the crack when the rope was loose or eaten his way out of the box after they had let it out of the plane. And the beaver was last seen standing on top of the box with the parachute above him. And he probably would have been fine, except when he got 75 feet off the ground, he decided to jump.
Okay, so now we know. We have, there's proof of suicidal beavers. Good to know. Do you think a beaver would tank 5 minutes in the mix? Why would you ask that?
So on one hand, that's kind of sad, but on the other hand, natural selection. If the other 75 beavers figured it out and you didn't, it's probably on you.
That's
on a happier note,
yeah.
though, the boys at the Fish and Game Department decided to hook up their lucky beavers.
We got suicidal beavers before GTA 6, unreal.
Beaver Geronimo.
Oh, no.
This is posted in the Journal of Wildlife Management, Volume 14, Number 2, April of 1950. The article, Transplanting Beavers by Airplane and Parachute by Elmo W. Heater, Idaho Fish and Game Department, McCall, Idaho. And I quote, Geronimo had a priority reservation on the first ship into the hinterland, and that with 3 young females went with him.
Okay.
They had to hook up their boy. And he made it. Apparently, they went to check in on him a couple years later, and his new colony was, and I quote, very well established. And Geronimo was not unique in that, because pretty much every drop zone ended up turning into a thriving beaver colony.
They made Shinzo Abe real happy. Listen, Shinzo Abe went back into the past and talked to him. He told him, you must have sex for the good of all of us.
In the following years, because they kept
One can imagine Shinzo Abe smiling
tabs on this entire thing. And not only did it work, it was also super cost effective, because according to this journal, the cost of transplanting one of these colonies was $30. It was $2 for the box, $16 for the surplus cargo parachute, and the flight time, man hours, and fuel totaled to $12 for a total of $30 per colony. And just to be clear, that's the actual crazy part about this story. It's not the fact that they actually had airborne beavers to go save the environment. No, that seems pretty reasonable. The crazy part is that these guys back in the 1940s managed to get the job done, have fun, and record it, and they did it for like $300 to $500. Because we all know in modern times, if they wanted to do this, there'd have to be like a 15-year-long environmental impact study that costs the US taxpayers $25 million just so that
just so it never gets done, by the way. Because there's been a couple of these that just, they never get finished.
Government could determine that if you drop beavers off in the forest, they will in fact do what beavers do. And then once the government goes ahead and says it is in fact okay to put beavers in the woods, it's going to take another 10 years for Lockheed Martin and Boeing to bid on the contract worth $100 million to relocate 100 beavers into the woods.
Is it just me?
I mean, he's right.
Or was
He's right.
that the stupidest thing we've ever seen?
Sorry, I'm ranting. In conclusion, the moral of the story is if it sounds dumb, but it works, it's not that dumb. And sometimes it's ridiculously cost effective to just let people do their job. Also, beavers are cool, and airborne beavers are even cooler. And this has been the story of America's band of beavers, the airborne paratrooper beavers that went in to save the environment. Thank you for watching.
Wow.
Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang.
Wow.
Out.
So let's be clear here. Just to be perfectly clear, as a reminder to my Australian brethren who are maybe watching this right now. When we want to move animals from one ecosystem to another, we do it with a 1% failure rate. 99% success rate. Technically 98.6% success rate. When the Australians do it, they shave off around 25% of the actual population that they wanted to, were not able to actually fix the issue. And they had to make a new type of fence for the farmers to actually fix the issue. Which means that they killed 10,000 emus for no fucking reason. God bless America. God bless the United States of America. Oh my god. Give them some slack. They have to do it all upside down. Scar A, alright, okay. Listen, this is just a real thinly veiled attempt to get like the couple of Australians that do watch my stuff riled up. Because it's just kind of funny that like last week we saw a video, like the video about the emu war, and now this video, it's like the good ending. You get what I mean? The 1% failure was just a miscalculation from the math guy. He had a stroke. No. The 1% failure was real. It's just that the 1% was like from a suicidal person, the beaver, I guess. Like the beaver wanted, like I think he had it off. He decided to jump off 75 feet from the ground and died in the process. Honestly, if you ask me, you could even chalk that up into being a clerical error. I don't know.